Namaskar. Welcome to Prakash on Basics. Last time we talked of Maya. What is beyond Maya is Satya. Remove Maya and what remains is Satya, the ultimate truth. And that is what we'll try and understand this time. The word Satya or Sat is used in the Upanishads with different implied meanings. It comes from the Sanskrit asa, as in asato ma sadgamaya, literally meaning take me to the truth. And that truth is what we are going to talk of today as Satya or Sat. In the Upanishads, Satya is said to be the root cause or the base of everything. Sat means what is or as it is. And there are many references to it also. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says Satya is Dharma. And the Taittiriya Upanishad gives an advice Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. And you will hear this very often because all gurus give this as a major advice to all their disciples. It is used very often in many discussions. Speak the truth and follow the Dharma, the natural law. And then the Mandukya Upanishad talks of Satyameva Jayate. Only truth wins or only truth prevails. And that, I'm sure you know, is our national motto that is inscribed below the Ashokan lions. And then there is another word, Satchidanand. Truth leads to ultimate everlasting bliss, an ideal goal for everything. According to the Upanishads, truth is unique. Satyam ekam advitiyam, as it is said. And then, as many of us would also realize, in present day situations also, at the end of any interrogation that is carried out properly, what remains and what is disclosed is finally just one single ultimate truth. What does not change is Satya. It is said to be Trikala Badhit, unaffected by all the three time scales past, present, and future. Its validity is said to be threefold. It's like a three legged stool, you would say. And usually the words used along with it are kaya, vacha, and mana. Truth in speech, truth in thoughts, and truth in action. It's like a spouse saying, I am truly yours. Unless it implies all the three, it doesn't really become real truth. Satya or truth is one of the cornerstones of Hinduism and other religions that have developed in the subcontinent also, like Buddhism or Jainism or Sikhism. Satya or truth is for all and it is at every possible situation. Law and order then, uh, that time, and even today, is based on Satya. At that time, uh, to prove that you were true or innocent, according to the Dharma Shastras, you had to perform an ordeal, what was known as the Divya, usually a fire test. Truth was said to be all powerful and it would protect an individual even in this fire ordeal. And then even the unscrupulous people had to have faith in Satya, as it is called today, honor among thieves, means being truthful, being reliable, being believable among thieves also. If not, their survival itself would be at a threat, leading to the death of all of them or a problem for each and every one of them. Satya is the root cause in Upanishads, the basis, the essence, as we talked of last time, when we talked of Tattvamasi, Mrittika Ivam Satya. Clay is the ultimate reality in that example. But then, in our earlier definitions, when we talk to the Mahavakyas, Satya is the same as Brahma, and Brahma is all expanding as per its own definition, which obviously means that Satya must also be expanding. So, with our present day knowledge, things may appear to be in a different light as it stands today. The clay again that we talked of then, in this expanding limit of our knowledge, can be talked of as a mixture of silicates and then breaking it down into what is known as compounds, or going still further lower down as matter, or then as electrons, protons, and neutrons, and then going further down as quarks, and then coming to the string theory, and maybe something more as yet not known to us. There is another aspect. An individual's maturity too makes a mark on the interpretation of Satya. Let's think of an example. As small kids, you must have seen those small biscuits you get in the shape of animals or pictures or crows and fish and dogs and cats and so forth. And then if there are two or three children in the house, the younger children are very keen on getting specific animals, uh, while the elder brothers have by now realized that it doesn't really matter what animal it is the biscuit that counts. And for the person who makes those biscuits or the person who buys them, it's only biscuits measured in kilograms, not the animals that we are talking of. So we need to realize that the nama roop, the form and the nomenclature is not the ultimate truth. And this many a times comes with maturity. So the response to a given situation, realizing its truth, is a function of the level of the observer, his experience, his knowledge, his understanding of the situation, whether it is mruttika, the clay, or it is quarks in present day situations. And then finally, um, expanding knowledge. There, as we mentioned, prajnana makes earlier satya or the earlier truth sometimes redundant in the present context. It remains truth, but it becomes less significant. So, for a scientist, it is the quarks that matter, while for a layman, it is still the clay. So, the prajnana, the knowledge, makes a difference. And then, what about other people? Didn't they interpret what Satya was? Patanjali, in his Yoga Sutra, includes Satya in the first category, the Niyam, the Yamas, the behavior norms. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya. It's included there. And this Satya is used by Jainism, it is used by Buddhism, Buddhism uses it in its Ashtanga Marg. But Patanjali goes further in his interpretation of truth. Hiding the truth, being silent, distorting the truth is all wrong according to Patanjali. Disinformation by exaggeration, distortion, fabrication, deception is also wrong. May it be a reinterpretation of truth in a different manner. One of the examples of this, of course, is in Mahabharata. Um, Yudhishthir talks of Ashwatthama being killed and says Narova Kunjarova in a lower tone, in a lower voice, misleading the great master. And for this, as a punishment, during his climb or ascent to heaven, he had to lose his thumb because he had indirectly violated the norms of truth. And Satya is a part of Jainism too. The Jains include Satya in the Pancha Mahavratas. We'll talk of Jainism sometime later. I'll come to all this again. But these Pancha Mahavratas are the five unbreachable commitments that an individual must make. But there's an exception that the Jains point out. And this is in one of their major texts, which is known as Sarvarth Siddhi, which interprets a lot of information in Jainism. It says that if telling the truth results in himsa, then disclosing it is wrong. Because ahimsa is said to be more important than satya itself. But that's obviously the Jain viewpoint. And what about Sikhism? In Sikhism, Sat is a major concept. Sat obviously is nothing but Satya. And you must have heard the word Satnam, a name used by quite a few of Sikhs. Satnam really means God is truth. And Sikhism clearly states that no truth, no peace. So speak the truth and be free of all tensions. Because if you don't speak the truth naturally, even in present day context, you have to remember all the false things that you have been telling and you have to remember them sequentially again. It's better to get away by talking or speaking or disclosing the truth. Sikhs say that falsehood is like a counterfeit coin. With that, you cannot buy Guru's blessings. And then the great Guru Govind Singh Ji, he coined a phrase known to many of us even today. The complete phrase is Bole so nihal, Sat Shri Akal. Truth is timeless, and that is the ultimate goal. This has become a formal greeting among many Sikhs, but it is a battle cry of the Punjab regiment, of the Sikh light infantry, and the Sikh regiment also. Sat Sri Akal. And this Satya, what do the Upanishads say about it? And how do philosophy in India talks of it? Satya is said to be of three types. First, the practical aspect, the pragmatic aspect, known as the Vyavaharik Satya, the one that we experience in the waking state, the one that is realized by our senses, by an individual, by me, and by you also. So it's true for all of us collectively. The one that we all respond to, that is the Vyavaharik Satya. And the second is the Pratibhasik Satya, the apparent truth. This is categorized in two types. One, in the dream world, where all our experiences, emotions, all our feelings, all our fears, all our hunger, pleasures, everything appears to be true. That truth disappears as soon as you awaken, as soon as you gain consciousness and awareness, as soon as you start realizing the other reality that is around you. So, this truth, obviously, that is in the dream world, is a temporary truth. And its second type is the one we talked of during our discussions in Maya. It's due to perceptions, due to misinterpretations, due to ignorance sometimes, based on our previous experiences. Remember the snake that got confused with the rope could have been a live cable, resulting into more dangerous situations. And think of the shadows cast by trees that scare small children at night, and the mirages that are created. These are all due to misinterpretations. They are all situational because of improper lighting in some cases. In case of the mirages, the heat waves that create images, or in case of shadows, the angles that distort the shapes. This apparent truth is temporary too. Till conditions become favorable, till misconceptions are cleared, this truth remains. But then it disappears. So the previous knowledge leads to apparent truth in these cases. And as I told you even then, if you don't have that knowledge itself, then this pratibhasik satya does not influence you. A small child who doesn't know a snake, a rope, a cable, for him it just doesn't matter. They're all the same to him. And now the third, the paramarthik satya, the one that is beyond our normal self, the metaphysical one, the ultimate truth, as we have talked of in the Upanishads. We refer to them in terms of the Mahavakyas. The longest one was Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. And then there was this Prajnanam Brahma, clear knowledge and insight is Brahma itself. And I am Atma Brahma. And then Aham Brahmasmi. And Tattvamasi, the advice that we talked of. Insight is realizing the truth in something. All these Mahavakyas lead to the same, the truth, or the realization of the truth. And then Brahma Vidya or Brahma Jnana that we talked of is again the same. We've talked of this a few episodes back. Realize that the response and realization of truth depends upon the potential of an individual, potential of the person, his knowledge, his ability, and his experience. There's a very beautiful example for this with which I'm going to conclude. Ram, Bhagwan Shri Ram asked, how do you perceive me? And the question was to Hanuman. He's called Buddhimatam Varishtham, the wisest of the wisest. And his reply is, he says, O Ram, I see you on three levels. I conceive you truly on three levels. At the physical body level, I am your servant. As a jiva, the life form, I am your part. I am your ansh. And as an atma, we are both the same. There is no difference between us. Nothing but Advaita, non-dualism between the two of them. The answer is true at all levels. It depends upon the level at which we think. And so is this Satya. It is our interpretations of the Satya that matter. Ultimately, it is the same depending upon our level. This is what Satya is, one of the cornerstones of Hinduism. If you have liked whatever I have said, please tell your friends about this. Let them know the reality, the Satya. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Pass on this information as much as possible. Spreading knowledge is really our only goal. Until we meet again, most probably next Saturday again. Till that time, Namaskar.